Friends, we have a very important update today. We got some breaking news that I haven't seen basically anywhere else except for one place, PJ Media out there. Apparently, government bureaucrats are blocking people from moving into the tiny homes that the Amish and other volunteers are building down in North Carolina. People are out in the freezing cold, and they're not being allowed to move into these tiny homes that are being built. There are even reports that people are being kicked out. Families are being kicked out of these tiny homes because they're, quote, not up to code. We need to talk about this and get you the actual information direct from the horse's mouth. And we need to find out more about this. If any of you have information, please do send it in. We got reports out there that coffee prices are about to spike as electronic trading markets have hit a 13-year high for Arabica coffee beans. Another case against Trump has suddenly been dropped, as if it's baseless, as if it was political prosecution all along. We have an airport strike about to be that just began yesterday, and we're going to tell you what you need to know if you're planning on travel by air, or if a loved one is planning to travel by air, to make sure that they're not affected by this. We got one of our viewers took their kid to a clinic. Just not to a hospital, not the ER, to a clinic, and it ended up being billed for $1,000 just to get an x-ray and to get some tests done that a lot of them weren't even asked. You need to hear about this stuff because this is what's happening out there. And another one of the Poplarites, or whatever we're calling ourselves here, have found a different way to help in North Carolina. That's a heartwarming story coming your way. Some things that are going to infuriate you, but then also some things about our community that are making a difference in the world. A lot to talk about. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates that you guys are sending in from all over about what's going on out there in the world. Stuff that you're pointing me towards, as well as mixed in some news that I'm seeing as well. If you have an update that you'd like to share, make sure you use the word update somewhere in your comment. That gets it to the right place. We do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They do sponsor these videos. They believe in what we're doing. They believe in getting information out and getting more prepared. So help yourself get prepared by getting stocked up on food. But if you want to take care of your retirement account, you might want to get that into something safe like gold, silver, or platinum. There'll be a link at the end of the video for you to find out more from them about what they can do and all the fees and that kind of stuff if you want to find out about that. If you do reach out to them, make sure you mention this channel because they do waive the setup fees if you do. All right, didn't even mention this in the intro, but this is another big one. This is from Vanessa. Update, Microsoft outage today in the UK. This is from yesterday. Affecting Outlook and Teams. This comes just after Russia warned the UK, the United Kingdom, that they will cause cyber attacks to British businesses. And immediately thereafter, British businesses all start going down. 44 military aircraft were also up in the air across the country earlier today. That's in the UK. So basically, Microsoft 365, as well as other services from Microsoft like Teams, Calendar, and their Outlook email were impacted dramatically, and that has affected a lot of businesses over in the UK. No word on when they will fully restore those services, but you can just imagine the GDP and the businesses that are getting hammered right now because they can't sell stuff, they can't coordinate with each other. A lot of things are going sideways right now. Jack Smith has filed to dismiss the government's vendetta case against Donald Trump. Now, this is regarding his actions in a lead up to the inauguration in 2021. Now, without the prosecution going after him anymore, this means the case is gone. When the prosecutor files to dismiss, it's over, right? Obviously, the defense is like, yeah, that's what we want. We want it dismissed. Well, I assume they want it dismissed unless they want to drag the Jack Smith into court and make him go through discovery. Anyway, if they have stuff to hide. Anyway, Charlotte, North Carolina, ABM service workers have gone on strike. Now, this just started yesterday, and this is at the airport. ABM services mostly services American Airlines flights, but that's a hub for them. So They're doing this right ahead of the busy Thanksgiving weekend. This strike may go into the weekend and may go on after that. This is only affecting flights going through Charlotte. Now, we don't know if American Airlines is going to be able to come up with enough contingency plans to service their aircraft so they can continue on, or if they're going to divert aircraft to other places. But this is not a good day. So if you know anyone, or if you are planning on flying American Airlines through Charlotte, you should be paying attention to this for sure. Hopefully people can get on different airlines or get to a different airport or something to get around this. But I just want to bring that up to your notice. A DHL cargo plane crashed into the ground with no emergency declared in Lithuania. This was a flight from Germany, and German investigators are not ruling out this as a possible act of sabotage. They are saying that it could be an accident. It could be, quote, a hybrid incident. So they are seeing acts of sabotage apparently popping out all over, and so they don't want to rule it out immediately. Some of the suspicious things happen here with the cargo plane. The plane did not declare a distress. It was just short of the runway. Some people are speculating that the GPS could have been jammed or spoofed, and that could have caused the aircraft to think it was lower or higher or forward or back of where it actually was. But the one person did perish, the pilot did perish on this flight, and we're talking about it was a cargo plane, not a passenger plane. But we'll keep you updated as information comes out on that one. Arabica coffee bean prices have spiked to a 13-year high over concerns of Brazilian coffee stockpiles. So if you like your cup of joe, be aware that this is something that's happening out there. We've been having issues with the Robusta beans over in Vietnam and Indonesia, but we haven't had problems with Arabica beans. Now we're having problems with Arabica beans down in Brazil. Now, Brazil is the largest producer of coffee beans in the world, and they're saying that they don't have enough stockpiles to get to the next harvest. They are shipping them out and selling them too fast. They're going to run out. It's another 8 months until the next harvest, and they don't have enough to go around. They have weather problems down there that's causing issues with the previous harvest and potentially with this future harvest. Mr. Jackalope says, Ezra Levant, Canada has fallen. All right, so I don't know if you heard about this incident. We're going to just give you just a real quick and dirty of it, and then you can look into it more if you want to. There's probably other dedicated videos focusing in on this. Ezra Levant is a Jewish journalist who went into a Jewish area in Toronto during an anti-Israel protest. So these guys were protesting pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel. They were protesting, and he was covering it as a citizen journalist. He wasn't saying anything. His clothing wasn't like showing anything other than just the fact that he was present. The police ordered him to leave the area just because he was Jewish. They said that he was inciting the crowd by his very presence. Once again, not by anything he was saying. He wasn't being charged with saying something wrong. He wasn't there doing stuff to get them. His presence. Being Jewish in the wrong place apparently is a crime. He was then arrested after he refused to leave because they were saying, you can't be here because you're Jewish. He was arrested for breaching the peace. Meanwhile, the police watched on as these protesters blocked streets, glorified terrorists, dressed up like Hamas and Hezbollah terrorists. They put red triangles on things, which is how Hamas marks their targets. So like if they want to take somebody out, they show a picture of them with a red triangle over their face to show that they are a target right now. This is not good. They're doing all that, and apparently that's fine. That's fine. You can say all those things. You can do all those things. You can dress up. You can dress up like Hamas and Hezbollah terrorists. And we even saw that these protests turned into smashing windows and doing all that. But the Jewish guy who wouldn't leave got arrested. You can look into more about that. Ezra Levant. Again, with all these things, It's not to say that this person was perfect or that they're, but when you have government overreach like this, you need to take those things into account and say, no, the government should not have done what they did. They should not have arrested somebody for just being somewhere. That's just outrageous. Similar to what I was talking about with that lady with the chickens down in Texas. I said that 42 SWAT federal officers raiding her farm, kicking in her doors, was gross overkill. A whole bunch of you guys went out there and said, well, she smuggled eggs. She shouldn't have done that. It's like, okay, well, I'm not a lawyer here. I don't know all of the facts, and honestly, you guys don't either. A lot of you guys seem to know all the facts or think you do. But the fact is that we shouldn't have no-knock raids with stormtroopers coming through people's windows for things like having eggs, right? Or saying things, or posting a meme on Facebook or YouTube or something like that. We shouldn't have federal officers with tanks running over people's lawns every time they do something that should be basically a call on the phone and say, you need to come into the office. There's a bureaucrat here who needs to issue you a fine because you shouldn't have done what you did. 2 people with clipboards should have handled that situation, not 42 heavily armed officers. And if you disagree with me on that, well, you kind of sound like a fascist. That's just flat out, right? I mean, if you think that 42 officers should be storming a woman's farm who barely can walk, that seems like gross overreach of the government. And actions have consequences. I get people getting fines and stuff like that, but we have people murdering people who are getting slaps on the wrist. And then we have other people who are doing something that the government didn't like paperwork-wise. There's some rule or regulation that they didn't follow. People who are building emergency shelters for people, and bureaucrats are saying, oh, it's not up to code. This government nonsense needs to stop. And the stormtroopers need to stop evicting disaster victims from temporary emergency shelters, and they need to focus in on people who are out there threatening people and who are committing murders. And we have all these shoplifters who are brazenly stealing everything, and the police don't go after them, but they'll go after a family who moves from a tent into a temporary structure built by the Amish, which is probably better than most homes. Anyway, we're getting to that. Madam K says, listeria outbreak, Yushang Foods. Now, I don't know if you guys, I don't recognize this, Yushang Foods, but they have ready-to-eat meat and poultry. I guess maybe it's a regional thing, I don't know. 11 people sick, 4 states, 9 hospitalized, 72,000 pounds recalled. So if you're familiar with Yushang Foods, check to see if your food's been recalled on that. This is from Almost Heaven. We got a lot of news today. This is another big one. U.S. suspends Mexican cattle imports after New World screwworm case. And this is a direct quote here that I looked up. Given the severity of the threat, this is from the it was a Department of Agriculture is where I got this from. Given the severity of the threat from the New World screwworm, which is basically these flies lay eggs under the skin of cattle, and that's how they reproduce, and then that's how they also spread. Kind of nasty, right? Aphis, basically this is how they, these are the guys going after the bird flu at the bird farms. Aphis is restricting the import of animal commodities, meat, livestock, so not just live animals, but also dead animals and the meat coming from Mexico, originating from or transiting Mexico, effective immediately. So any meat trying to come through Mexico or from Mexico is being stopped immediately. And pending further information from Mexican veterinarian authorities on the size and scope of the infestation. Of course, Texas cattle and cattle across the Southwest are in jeopardy due to if this New World screwworm gets into the U.S. Cattle herd. We're already herding right now. We have the lowest cattle beef herd since the 1960s or 50s. We have less beef cattle than we've had since 1950s, 60s. We don't need more cattle having issues right now, that's for sure. Or for us to start quarantining certain states. Let's keep moving. Lots of stuff to cover. PJ, our local news, WRAL, finally did a short segment on why there is an egg shortage. It's like their heads have been in the sand all along. Thanks to your timely updates and info, you are months or years ahead of the news cycle. Rather, we are. And that's a good question for me to throw out to you guys. Pop down the comments down below and let me know what do we call ourselves. A bunch of you guys have used the term Poplarites, and that's why I kind of jokingly said that at the beginning of the video. But what should we call this crew? If you have a suggestion on what we should call, make sure you use the word name in your comment. Use the word name somewhere in your comment and just let us know what we should call ourselves. And I'll take some of the top answers and I'll put up a poll later on. I know Patera has her warriors or whatever, and other groups have different names and stuff like that. Maybe we should have a name, or maybe you think we should not. But use the word name somewhere in your comment and let me know what you guys think about. Should we have some kind of, should I call you guys something? And I'm part of that too. So it's got to be a good name that we like. Gizmo says, Las Vegas Sam's Club limit 2 packs of eggs. We're seeing limits all over the place. Cindy says, Kent, Washington, 18 pack of eggs up another $1. No frozen meatballs, sale on butter, same on the butter or large potatoes. Full of Hope says, update in the UK, a petition for a call for new elections needs to have 10,000 signatures to be acknowledged in the House of Parliament. Currently, it has 1.7 million and rising. The people of the UK are demanding a new election because they are super upset with what's happening with the Parliament and their abuses of authority, the tyranny, the silencing of people, that they're going after speech crimes and releasing violent criminals on the streets. It sounds like what's happening here in the United States, except worse up there. Nashville Pasta Man says, Vienna, Virginia, D.C. suburb, egg shortages at Whole Foods over the weekend. I'm sorry, but I'm going to smile just a little bit because egg shortages happening to the bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. About time. About time. I hope the people in the Capitol can feel what we're feeling out across the United States. Hopefully they're not insulated from what's happening. Cindy Lou says, Western New York, doctors are leaving my area. I've lost 2 out of my 3 doctors now. I was told physician's assistants will be handling my cases now. No doctors, just physician's assistants. I saw a map. I need to find it and post it somewhere. Or show it to you guys. But basically, it was a map of Europe and which countries have the highest percentage of their doctors are foreign born. And like Norway was like the highest, I think it was. Norway was like well over 50% of their doctors were born in other countries. They just don't have people going into to study medicine, and that's happening in the United States. American kids are studying gender studies and all sorts of stupid stuff, but they're not going into med school. It's the foreigners who are coming into the United States that are going to med school. If you've been to a doctor recently, you know that there's a lot of ethnicities that are doctors, but let's just say a higher percentage of them than what the general population has, right? Some of the nicest folks, and they're the ones actually trying to achieve the American dream, while we have all these kids living in their parents' homes until they're 35. John says, huge news. This is what I was talking about before. Let's get into it. The Amish built 100 small homes. I'm going to get back in here and correct a few things or comment on a few things. The Amish built 100 small homes for the displaced people in North Carolina. FEMA said that they can't be used because they don't meet code. Something very nefarious is going on. They'd rather people freeze. This is beyond disgusting, those poor people. All right, folks. First thing we're going to look at here is, looks like the number of temporary structures could be in the hundreds. Reporters and social media people who have tried to get them to, this is mostly Cabins for Christ, but there's other organizations doing this now too. They've tried to figure out how many have been built, and nobody has a clue. They've been focusing on building as fast and as well as they can. They haven't been focusing in on counting. Okay, they've been trying to keep the score. So nobody really knows how many, but it sounds like hundreds, potentially. Second, it doesn't seem to be FEMA that is the devil in this one. It looks like local and state, particularly state, code enforcement. These bureaucrats are trying to protect their racket of shaking down construction workers for bribes. Did I say that out loud? Did I say that out loud? Is that what code enforcement does? They shake down construction workers. They shake down construction companies for money on the side. Grease the palms a little bit. Yeah, let's just say that's a generality. I don't know what it's like where you are, friends, but in Pennsylvania, that's kind of how it works a little bit. They come around and harass you until you eventually find another way. Or you hire somebody that they approve of that maybe they have a little bit of investment in, right? Code enforcement. I understand the concept of code enforcement, but it is not right in this situation with emergency housing and kicking out, and we're getting some reports of families actually being kicked out of these homes. Like I said, the only place I've seen this reported is PJ News, which is affiliated with like Red State News and such. They were going off of a bunch of posts over on Twitter. So if you guys have any more information about this, I know some of you guys are in the North Carolina area, some of you guys in the Tennessee area. If you have any information about this, please get that to me. You can use the word update. You can also email it to me directly at poplarpreparedness@gmail.com. But let's see if we can confirm any of that and get some specific instances, because that is absolutely intolerable. If people are being moved out of temporary wooden structures into tents, that's insane. That's insane. And I'm a little worked up over that. And I don't have specific instances right in my hands. If I have some specific instances in my hands, we're going to war over this. We're going to war over this. Ashley says current price for a flu swab is $395. A flu swab, COVID swab, $226. Had to take my 7-year-old in for pneumonia that is going around through the children. Had to get an x-ray and antibiotics. The total appointment was over $1,000. Not the ER, over $1,000 for a clinic visit for a kid who's sick. The x-ray was $176. That's steep, but okay. They didn't tell you. They just bill you like crazy. COVID swab, $226. Flu swab, $395. What are people supposed to do? The swabs tested the snot out of a tissue. I didn't let them put anything in his nose. They just do these tests. They don't ask or inform of costs. Beware and decline the swabs, friends. If you absolutely need a COVID test, just buy one at Walgreens for under $20. Or you can, I don't know if you can still get them for free from the post office, but outrageous. Question everything. It's absolutely, our medical system is so out of control. It's crazy. $400 for a test. A swab test. Misadventure. Now this is let's end on a heartwarming story here, shall we? Misadventure says, after listening to this video on helping out North Carolina, I knew that I wanted to help, but buying a heater was not in our budget. I looked up the location of the church and found it was only 1 hour away. So I called Pastor Tim and spoke to Jan, his wife, lovely couple. I asked if I could bring warm clothes instead. She told me that they have plenty of clothes. So, friends, if you're looking at getting clothes, don't send clothes, okay? But they needed bedding. So it just so happened that I recently closed an Airbnb business and I had 10 sets of white sheets along with mattress covers and white towels in storage. My husband and I drove up there after church yesterday and delivered them on Sunday. Pastor Tim and Jan were so hospitable and warm. Their efforts are commendable and God-inspired. I'm so glad my husband and I were able to be a part of it. Friends, when you know of good to do, step up and do it, right? As you have opportunities, you should seize them and do the good for the friends and family members you have in your lives, people in your neighborhood, people in your country, and to the best of your ability to those who are hurting around the world, right? That's what we're about. Our lives have meaning as long as we are helping other people. I know some people are like, well, I'm just going to take care of myself. Okay. But I firmly believe that God has created us to find happiness and joy when we have meaning and purpose by helping others. As we help others, we find happiness and joy. All right. If you guys want to get some more information from Genesis Gold, there's a link right there on the screen. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.